Hey everybody, good morning. Today we're taking a look at 1 Kings chapter 10. We see that the Queen of Sheba comes to visit King Solomon, and she gets to see some of all the great things, that some of the ways that Solomon is prospering, and she gets firsthand to hear some of his wisdom and stuff like that. And the last half of the chapter goes on to start to list some of his great wealth. You know, all these gold and silver and ivory and all this stuff that he has amassed. And I'm reminded a little bit of yesterday's chapter, where we were talking about faith as being a two-way street. And in verse 5 from yesterday, chapter 9, it says, "Then I will establish the throne of your kingdom over Israel forever, as I promised David." And this is the Lord speaking to Solomon. I will establish your throne forever. And this was if he would honors the Lord and all this stuff. And we see how God is fulfilling his end of the promises. You see, God does not make a promise with you and then not keep it. We're the ones that don't keep it. We're the ones that don't fulfill our end. We're the ones that fall away. We're the ones that go the opposite direction. We're the ones that drop the promises. If God has made a promise in your life, then that's a promise that you need to stand on, and you need to continue to seek after the Lord and listen to him and let him guide you to that promise. You see, God can make a promise in your life, but there's still something for you to do. That doesn't mean it's automatically going to happen. You see, if God tells you, "I'm going to give you a $30 an hour job, a $40 an hour job," but you sit at home playing video games all day, how are you going to find that job? You won't. You won't. So you actually need to get up and you need to do something about it, and go and put in applications and give God an opportunity to fulfill his promises. And you see here in Solomon, you see that he is fulfilling those promises. He's fulfilling the promises of wisdom. This Queen of Sheba said she just marveled at his wisdom. She marveled at how happy all the people around him were. She just marveled at all of these things. And Solomon was living out his life. He's living out his promises. He's living out. He's holding up his end of that faith is a two-way street, as we talked about yesterday. He's holding up his end of that. And you know, I just love seeing this, you know, and it reminded me a little bit of, you know, I'm looking at Solomon's father, King David, who was always fighting. He was always somebody attacking, you know, somebody. And David helped build the foundation of this kingdom. And God originally made the promise to David that if you follow me, I will build your name, your kingdom forever. And we see that even the promise God made to David is still here being fulfilled in Solomon. So when God makes a promise to you, he is faithful to keep it. He's even faithful sometimes when we're not. But we have to listen to him. We have to hear his voice, and we have to follow him in order for those promises to come true. We can't just sit there and do nothing and expect God to do all the work. Jesus tells us when he was here, he said, "Ask, seek, knock." He said, you ask for it. Then you go and you seek for the door of it. And then you knock on that door. That doesn't mean you sit down and do nothing with the promises of God over your life. I have promises of God over my life. And I pray that I'm hearing his voice right. I pray that I am keeping our relationship, keeping up my end of our relationship for those promises to be fulfilled. Because I can't just sit here and do nothing. So, everybody, have a super day. I love you all. Chase those promises.